Hare Krishna, everybody. We'll start with the invocation. Invocation prayers are on the introduction page of your Bhagavad Gita. Follow along. Those of you who have already been hearing, you can also please follow along. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. We welcome Suresh Prabhu. He is also in the process of getting caught up on the previous recording. So as you must have already heard, please feel free to ask any or all questions as you go along, whether or not you are fully caught up on the class recording. Welcome. So today, we will discuss this seemingly controversial statement in Bhagavad Gita, which says women are not intelligent, from chapter 1, verse number 40 purport. Plus, we will discuss the point on categorizing spiritual knowledge in 4 categories. Plus, we'll discuss the point about elimination versus suspension. And for all these points, we will listen to lecture extracts from Srila Prabhupada as well as His Grace Chaitanya Charanda's lectures to set a base. At the start, I request my spiritual master, His Grace Vaisheshikadas Adhikari, Srila Prabhupada, Shri Radha Krishna, Krishna's words and Narsimadev to help me speak the right words so as to put to rest this seemingly controversial topic. From the responses that some of you have sent in on the Google form, I can visualize that some of you may have a sword in your hand. So Lord Narsimadev is going to be my shield. Krishna's words are going to be my shield. My spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada and Shri Radha Krishna are going to be my shield. So feel free to have a real open conversation on this topic. So I will bring up on screen in terms of the responses that the devotees submitted to this question of trying to find a seemingly controversial statement. Now, first I will bring up the responses that are other than this controversial statement. So yes, we will be discussing this point about women are not intelligent. Simultaneously, I will address that other points that devotees have pointed out. So one point which is there on the screen says, when irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from degradation of womanhood, or descendant of Vishnu, comes unwanted progeny. So I have not put the whole text of what the devotee pointed out, but I'm just trying to point out that this is just a fact. There isn't really a controversy per se on this statement. It's a fact that from degraded woman, unwanted progeny come up. Yes, you can argue about this statement also as to who's responsible, but that's not our focus right now here. And the other statement, another devotee pointed out from chapter 1, verse number 36, about the 6 aggressors. That where Arjuna says that sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. That what should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our kinsmen? And actually, Krishna gives a list of 6 aggressors in the purport. And Krishna says that such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. So again, this is just a fact. It's a fact of law. So just as we have laws in the material world, similarly, there are universal laws that are working under Krishna. And this is just a fact that aggressor, the 6 aggressors which are described in 1.36, you just kill them and there's no sin if you kill them. Although you and I are not Kshatriya, so we should not kill anybody because we will have contaminated definition of who is aggressor. So if it is for the law to decide who are aggressors. So our focus today is going to be this statement from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse number 40 purport. There is this statement where it says women are generally not very intelligent. So if you say this statement to people in the material world, they are going to get offended or at least get agitated. So let's first hear from Srila Prabhupada and His Grace Chaitanya Chandas to set a base before we can come to discussing this seemingly controversial statement. I'll play Prabhupada lecture. Now, those of you who have not heard Prabhupada so far, Srila Prabhupada has a very heavy Bengali accent, where he, for example, the word yoga, Prabhupada says yoga. So Prabhupada's accent is pretty heavy, a Bengali accent. So tolerate, listen, and you will get used to hearing Prabhupada properly as you progress. So it's only about 2.5 minute lecture. Take notes and we will then discuss what Prabhupada has been saying. So in this first short lecture, Prabhupada will talk about that sadhu has to use strong words to cut up bodily attachment. Now, sadhu does not mean somebody who is in a saffron cloth and living in a forest. Sadhu in scriptures refers to devotee. Is there in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.20 and 21 verse. They are about devotee. Devotee is a sadhu. So let's hear from Srila Prabhupada.
Anyone who is intelligent, he should associate with persons who are trying to elevate themselves for self-realization. That is called satsang, good association. And what is the result of good association? Now, because if we make good association, the santa chindanti, Santa means the persons who are sadhu, who are pious, they can cut off by their words our attachment to this material. They can cut off, just like Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. What is the idea of speaking so many things? Just to cut off his attachment from the so-called material affection. He is affected with something which is stumbling his progress in his own duty. So Krishna is presenting his Bhagavad Gita just to cut off. Santa eva hi chinnanti uktihi. Their chinnanti means cut. Now, for cutting something, we require some sharpened instrument. But here, to cut off the mind from attachment, it requires sharpened ukti. Ukti means word. Sharpened topic. There should not be. Just like when a person cuts something, there is no mercy. Similarly, when a sadhu or a person speaks to his friend, to his student, he does not show any mercy. He speaks the truth so that his mind may be cut off from the unreal attachment. Just like Krishna is saying. Krishna, Arjuna, first address to Arjuna, he says, Asacyananusujastam prajnavadam subhasam. Oh, you are talking like a fool, you are talking like a very learned man, but you are fool number one. You see how strong word he has used.
Okay, what did Prabhupada explain? Quickly.
Hare Krishna. Sadhu uses strong words for benefit of the hearer to cut off their material attachments.
Yeah, very good. Correct point. What else did Prabhupada say? Everybody? Please participate. What did Prabhupada explain?
He said the strong words. Also, he said as a strong word to Arjuna as a fool.
Mhm. Yeah, so strong words. Yeah, very good. Smith Prabhu wanted to say.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I wanted to say the same thing that, but he's talking like a fool. He's talking like a learned man, but he's a fool. That's the same point I was.
Yeah, very good. So just as, say, a doctor has to cut open a heart patient, doctor is not going to cut like he's applying butter. No, he's going to cut very hard. The doctor is not trying to hurt anyone. Doctor actually is trying to cure the patient. Similarly, when spiritual masters speak, or just as Srila Prabhupada speaks, the words are very heavy because they pierce through our bodily attachment so that our bodily attachment is destroyed. That's the intent of such strong statements. So you'll hear in many lectures, Prabhupada uses very strong words like rascal. You tell anybody rascal, he'll go, what? So, and then Prabhupada uses the word economic development is nonsense. Prabhupada uses very strong words. Now, to understand that all these lectures that we hear from Prabhupada, Prabhupada is actually directly speaking to his direct disciples and is just recorded, and we are getting the benefit out of it. So, yes, spiritual master has the right to speak strong words so that the bodily attachment of the disciple is cut to pieces. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realization so far? So in this use of strong words, Srila Prabhupada and all acharyas, all spiritual masters, they don't have any intent to chastise, or they don't have any intent to just downplay the disciple. No, they are actually trying to help. Just as the doctor cuts open the patient with a very heavy pierce of the knife, so that he can get to the bottom of the disease. Same way, the words are piercing when they are spoken with these strong words. Next, I will play His Grace Chaitanya Chanda's lecture, and I will pause the lecture in small parts. It's about 10 minutes or so lecture and has very important points. So we will discuss each of these points. Now, His Grace Chaitanya Chandas is authority on scriptures in ISKCON. His knowledge of scriptures is beyond comparison. So whether you directly read the scriptures or you hear from bona fide acharyas like Srila Prabhupada or His Grace Chaitanya Chandas or other spiritual masters, it's identical. So the lecture that I'm about to play is going to explain that when you hear spiritual knowledge or spiritual topics, you should categorize that whatever you hear in 4 categories. There can be subcategories also, but he will explain 4 broad categories. And if you don't categorize in these 4 broad categories, then your progress on the path of spirituality will be checked and choked. And then he will talk about the elimination versus suspension, that when you hear something that you don't understand, what do you do with it? So let's hear from Chaitanya Chandas. Again, take notes, listen closely, and I will pause multiple times so that we can discuss what he is explaining. Let's hear.
We may say that, okay, we should have faith. We need to have faith. But how do we develop faith? Actually, faith, it depends also on intelligence, use of our intelligence. When we study the philosophy, we will find that the scriptural knowledge that we study will fall in several different categories. So, here, as I said, here I was talking about faith. First, initial faith is just favorable curiosity. Maybe there is something in Bhagavad Gita, I want to read it. Then it leads to knowledge. That leads to strengthening of our faith. So now I am talking about the various aspects of knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So we can put them in 4 broad categories. There can be many subcategories also. So some aspects, they strike us as true on first hearing. For example, maybe we have had a lot of suffering in our life and we have had a lot of troubles, but all around us people were telling, yes, actually everybody is enjoying, you just have to keep fighting, be a fighter and things will look up, you will enjoy life. And then we hear the Bhagavad Gita, this world is Dukkhalayam. Yeah, that is true, it's true, yes, it is Dukkhalayam. So then maybe that's what convinces us. Or in the Bhagavad Gita we hear that, actually there is some evil force inside us. There's lust, there is in general the mind which drags us down. And then we understand, yes, there is some enemy inside me. And that enemy is pulling me down. Yes, that makes sense. So there are some aspects when we hear for the first time, wow, that makes sense. And then that is one aspect of spiritual knowledge. Another is, some aspects are some that we understand as true after contemplation and discussion. That means we hear, and when after that we contemplate, we discuss. Somebody says, you're not the body, you're the soul. How is that possible? When my hand gets cut, I feel pain. I am my body. When the body will die, I will die. So I am the body. Then we think about, okay, my hand gets cut, hand feels pain. I feel pain. But who am I? Now, am I the nerves? Am I the brain? But the brain is also just nerves like this. Where is the experiencer? The brain is just made of essentially the same components that the nerves are here made up of. So now this is not experiencing, I am experiencing. So who is the I who is experiencing? We don't know. So that we understand, yes, this source of consciousness is something different from all these nerves and neurons and all the cells in the body. That is the soul. And then that way, by contemplation, by discussion, we may hear also about people who remember their past lives, people who have their out of body experiences. And by this sort of discussion, okay, yes, I'm not the body and the soul. So we have to discuss, we have to contemplate, then we understand. Or for that matter, we may find that God is not impersonal but personal. Now, if we have been brought in a background where we had conceived of God as impersonal, then it will take some time. So we have to contemplate, discuss, then we will develop that faith.
Okay, well, what did he explain so far?
I think he said that faith depends on the use of how we use our intelligence.
Okay, very good. What else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Ritu.
Scriptures are in different categories.
Mhm.
There are various aspects of Krishna consciousness, and we should discuss, so that we can solve it. We should ask the questions.
Okay, very good. So what categories he described?
First, hearing lots of sufferings, we are having sufferings in our daily life.
Mhm.
We feel that enemy is pulling us down. So one aspect of spiritual knowledge is we should understood that what's going on, what is true. If we have problem, we should hear it, we should discuss it.
Okay, somebody else help. So what categories he described so far?
Hare Krishna. He described two categories till now. First category was like some things which we hear, we immediately accept because it is like we just have that intelligence. We have cultivated that kind of intelligence, or we have, but somehow we accept that from inside.
Yeah,
And then
so
there are some.
The first
Yes.
category was that some scriptural knowledge we understand at first reading. So, for example, that material world is a place of misery. It strikes us at first reading. Okay, very good. Continue.
And the second was when we may not immediately believe it or accept it fully, but then we think about it, contemplate, discuss, analyze, and reflect about it, and based on that, we may be able to conclude, yes, this is actually very true and profound.
Yeah. So the second category is that we need to contemplate little before we can understand. So not that everything I read, I will understand on day one. And same thing applies, he will go on to explain in the lecture that just as in the material world university also, there are subject matters placed in your year one, then year two, then year three, because there is a progression. Same applies here. Okay. Rest of you, anybody else? Any questions? Okay, I will again play and again pause. So we'll discuss the third category. I will again pause. Let's hear.
Now there are some that we'll realize after years of practice and purification. So for example, if we want to know how the gopis' love for Krishna is not material but spiritual. The gopis, they look like beautiful young women. Krishna is a beautiful young man, and they are both going out at night, in the middle of night, alone with nobody to chaperone, nobody to supervise. And what are they doing? They're dancing and singing. This is what people do in parties. What people do in, not just party, but this is what people do in immoral fantasies also. So, how is Krishna's love for the gopis transcendental? How is it pure? So now we may initially theoretically accept it, in principle accept it because the great saintly devotees are saying so. So okay, accept it as pure. But over a period of time, as we become purified, we start seeing. We don't see the gopis first as women and Krishna as man. We see the gopis as devotees and Krishna as the Lord. And then we understand that what is happening is the reciprocation of love. So, just as Krishna may embrace Hanumanji, Lord Ram may embrace Hanumanji, similarly, the Lord Krishna may embrace Radharani, the gopis, and it's actually simply the reciprocation of love. That is the essential aspect of that. That is the Lord and the devotee. Now, their forms are not unimportant. They are important because there's the rasa being reciprocated over there. But it's all pure and transcendental. When we understand this, then it takes purification also. Because as soon as we see male and female, that's what we first see, male and female. We don't see Lord and devotee. So it may take some time. But over a period of time, we'll understand it. Or another aspect may be sense gratification leads to misery. We all hear it, but internally, we secretly disbelieve it. No, sense gratification leads to enjoyment. Yeah, I have got some misery, but actually that is the exception. Actually, sense gratification leads to enjoyment. Maybe I did some things wrong, that's why I got into misery. But when I do it right, then there is so much enjoyment available. So, it takes purification to see how sense gratification will lead to misery always. It's intrinsic in it. Now, sense pleasure will always lead to misery because it is foreign to our nature and it alienates us away from our innate spiritual joyfulness. So therefore, this will take purification to us. We may follow right now because it's a regulative principle, but to become convinced of it, it may take time. Now I'm just giving these as examples, but the point is that their spiritual knowledge falls in different categories.
Okay, what did he explain?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, he did explain that some people take a lot of time to realize the transcendental love of Lord and gopis. Like he gave an example that we should see Krishna as Lord and gopis as devotees, and how pure and transcendental the whole thing is. And one more thing he mentioned was about sense pleasure will always end up us in miseries. So yeah.
Okay, very good. Both correct points. Yeah, the relationship between Lord and gopis on the surface looks like boy and girl or male and female trying to enjoy, but the gopis' love for Krishna is completely different. It's not sensual to begin with. And this sense pleasure leads to misery. We'll have a heavy discussion in 5.22. It comes from there, dukkha yoni. Yeah, and he clearly described it in the lecture that, okay, when we hear, we kind of hear it and then internally or secretly, we say, no, sense pleasure actually leads to enjoyment. But in reality, sense pleasure leads to misery. We'll discuss that in 5.22 at great length. Any questions, comments so far? Okay. So I'll again play the fourth category and I'll pause and we'll again do the same discussion.
And there will be some which we may never understand. We may never actually understand. So for example, we may say that, why the soul rebel against God? And there are many solid reasons. The soul has free will. Soul has not explored life apart from Krishna. The soul wants to enjoy in a way, serve in a way that is not possible in the spiritual world. So the soul becomes Brahma. And then after that the soul comes under illusion and falls. Or the soul actually is in a dream state and soul is actually, it's just the consciousness that is projected. The soul is not actually fallen. The consciousness only is projected. Whatever, there are different explanations like that. and they are to some extent satisfactory, but ultimately we can't know it. Or for that matter, how exactly is Vedic cosmology as described in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? We may not be able to understand it. So now when we start studying scripture, if we start questioning everything and having doubts about everything, we'll get ourselves into a lot of trouble. Why? Because doubts can just suck our energy. So how will we develop faith? Okay, let me focus on what is important, what is central, what is essential. Let me focus on that and let me put other things aside for the time being. So how do we do this? By recognizing that this is the way we work in every field of knowledge, practically speaking. If a student starts studying quantum physics, it is not that on the first day the student will understand everything about quantum physics. Even if the person is a doctorate student, doctorate students are still struggling to understand the concept of quantum physics. It's so complex. So we understand some basic things which are vital for us, and these things, okay, these things you will understand in second year, these things you will understand in third year, these things you will understand in your fourth year. So there is a structure given to us, and we also accept that there has to be a progression in understanding. So similarly, we have to understand that there are some things which their understanding will have to postpone. So often our faith will get checked and choked if we don't categorize the knowledge in this way. Okay, this is not, it will take me some time to understand this. Let me put this aside for the time. Let me focus on this right now. Let me focus on this. Let me focus on this. And like that we will advance.
Okay, what did he explain? Everybody, please participate.
Hare Krishna, Guruji, I think he was trying to explain that just like in practically speaking, just like we cannot understand everything in one go. It takes progressive understanding. Just like if you are enrolled in some kind of course, like let's say any computer course or anything, so it takes progressive understanding and time to understand everything. So yeah.
Very good. And the progressive understanding should apply for spiritual subject matters also. Okay, very good. Rest of you? Everybody on the same page with the 4 categories?
Yes, Guruji.
Rest of you? Silence. I got silence from rest of you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So what he's trying to explain is that when you hear some statement or you read some statement from scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and on the surface it is seemingly controversial, then what do you do? Do you just go away from Bhagavad Gita? What exactly do you do? So he's saying that put your knowledge in these 4 categories. Otherwise, your faith will get choked. And I'll give you a practical example about this topic that we're going to discuss, this seemingly controversial topic. But let's first finish hearing from Chaitanya Chandas. So next, what he will explain is that when you categorize what you hear, what you read in these 4 categories, now what do you do? Now he will explain the point about elimination versus suspension, that you go step by step by step and you eliminate one point, and he will describe this this point. Okay, so let's continue hearing, and then we will come to discussing the same point.
So once so that's how we live. Now, when a person is trying to return to the state of spiritual health, at that time there is some rigor that is required for the treatment. But if somebody says, I will not take the treatment, and the person is taking the disease condition, and the disease condition, there is no happiness. So if a patient doesn't put faith in the doctor, who is the loser? It is the patient that is the loser, not the doctor. So samshayatma vinashyati. Such person falls back. The person cannot make spiritual advancement. Now, Here, when you talk about doubt, let's understand one important principle of elimination versus suspension. So, there are certain cases when by understanding, by purification, doubts will become eliminated. But till the doubts become eliminated, it is helpful to suspend judgment, to suspend the doubts. Just like in a court, so in a court when the case is going on, if all the parties have not presented the proper evidence, then the court decides to suspend the judgment. So in some cases when all the evidence is crystal clear, then there is elimination. Okay, this side plea is thrown out. So there can be elimination and there can be suspension. So what we should be able to do in our spiritual life is at least be able to bring about suspension of judgment. Suspension. Yes, if there are important things I don't understand. How is it possible that Krishna is actually 5,000 years old? The academic scholars say that actually Krishna was probably 2,500 years ago. Bhagavad Gita was spoken at that time. So, and the scholars are intelligent people. How can they be wrong? So then, okay. Now, does it really matter as a central principle? Chanting Hare Krishna will benefit me, will purify me, whether Krishna appeared 2,500 years ago, Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. And of course, the process of purification through connection with God in devotion is an eternal process. So now, if we study the evidence seriously and talk with the concerned devotee scholars, we'll find that the basis for the scholars' claims are quite tenuous. There's nothing very solid in their claims about the dates. But whatever it is, if we are not able to make the judgment right now, if we're not able to eliminate the doubt, suspend it. Is it really important? No. I am not practicing Krishna consciousness because Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. I am practicing Krishna consciousness because the process of Krishna consciousness is helping me. It is making me a better human being. It is helping me to become more self-controlled. It is helping me to be more responsible, more committed, more compassionate. So whatever ways we have found Krishna consciousness helps me, that's why I am practicing it. So when we understand this point, that okay, this really doesn't matter for me, so let me just suspend it. And now suspending doesn't mean that we have to put it in perpetual suspension. And when we meet some devotees who are expert in that particular field, we can talk with them and we will be able to move the doubt from the category of suspension to the category of elimination. This will happen over a period of time. But the important point is not let doubts choke our spiritual life.
Okay, what did he explain?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So he spoke on the point of elimination and suspension of doubt. So some doubts we can clear it off, so they are eliminated. Some doubts in our current purification stage we cannot. So it is, and if they are not the central point, if they are not a very central point, then we can suspend them for the time being, so that we can focus on the essence and continue our practice. And then when we have the right opportunity, maybe we meet someone who is qualified to answer the doubt, we can get clarification at a later time.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so we do the same when we study, right? So when we study, we have a question. Okay, we will write down the question and ask the teacher the following day. But we will continue studying. And that's exactly what we have to learn to do in spiritual life also. Rest of you? Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Roji.
Yes.
So I will give you two examples about this elimination versus suspension. First is our dear Abhishek Prabhu present right among us, who was just speaking a minute ago. So Abhishek Prabhu also attends other classes in the other batches also, where he asked this question about Bhagavad Gita 3.27 about Prakriti Kriya Manani verse. When he was attending the Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 class on modes of material nature. Now I did answer, and Abhishek Prabhu's response was, okay, I am taking it what you are saying, but I need to digest this little more before I can fully accept. So what did Abhishek Prabhu do? He heard, but he says, I need little more understanding. So Abhishek Prabhu did not stop coming to classes. He was there in the following class, and he is here today also. And in the today other class also, just before this class. What he did, Abhishek Prabhu suspended the judgment. So I'll park this question. So that's what we also should learn, that when we hear, and specifically this seemingly controversial topic that we are just about to listen and discuss. So if we don't accept everything, we have to understand that we need little purification before we can understand everything. So we park our doubts for later, and as we progress, then we will understand a little more. And I will give you the other extreme of the same example. One of my colleagues, he took Bhagavad Gita from me and he started reading, and one day he comes literally with a sword in his hand, just as how I asked all of you to bring a sword. He read this statement, women are not intelligent. And he goes, Rajesh, what is this statement? What is this Bhagavad Gita talking about? I don't understand. I don't like this statement. I don't want to read this book at all. So I was trying to explain. He would not even listen. He was just adamant. No, I don't like this statement. I don't like this book. But as soon as I started talking, he will interrupt me and not listen. And he ended up not reading Bhagavad Gita further. So you tell me, what will you all do when you hear something that doesn't register? And it's not about controversial topic. I mean, today we are discussing a controversial, but there are others, like the example of Abhishek Prabhu, that there was nothing controversial. It's a standard verse, but Abhishek Prabhu says, I need to digest this little more. So question for all of you, what will you all do on a go forward basis?
I'm sorry, Prabhuji, can you say that question again?
So what will you do on a go forward basis when you read or hear something that doesn't register to you on the first time you hear or read?
We suspend it at that moment and then ask and wait for someone to answer, like the qualified devotee to answer that question. And that way we can eliminate our confusion or whatever we had, like doubts about it. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Rest of you, Ritu?
Yeah, same Prabhuji. We should suspend it for the time being till we are purified. Because right now we are not purified. We cannot understand it very properly.
Yeah,
so we should not eliminate it. We should hold it.
Yeah, very good. And Chaitanya has also explained that when you suspend it, it's not that you have to suspend for eternity. No, when you meet a senior devotee, ask your question. Okay, very good. Rest of you? Quickly. Yeah, very few devotees present today. Please quickly answer.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So, Krishna and Srila Prabhupada are our well-wishers. your well-wishers. And because you all have come to Krishna and studying Bhagavad Gita, therefore I am trying to serve you all so that we all can get purified and go back home to Godhead. Therefore, I request you to categorize whatever you hear, whatever you read in the 4 categories that we heard from Chaitanya Chandas, and park your certain points for later, for when you get purified, which are not immediately clear. Otherwise, your faith will get checked and choked. So now with this base understanding, we will now discuss this seemingly controversial statement from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse number 40 purport, where it says, women are generally not very intelligent. So I will answer this statement in 2 steps. First, I will nullify this seemingly controversial statement, and then you let me know if you want me to go to step number 2 to explain what this statement actually means. So let me first explain the first step. I will first nullify this statement, that when it says women are not intelligent, how do you understand this? So is this talking about spiritual intelligence? Well, at the soul level, all souls are females. It's the body that is male or female, but all souls are females. So definitely it's irrelevant because all souls are female. So you call somebody intelligent or not, everybody is identical. So it's irrelevant there, but at the spiritual intelligence level. Okay. So is this talking about material intelligence? Well, we can see that in the material world, women excel in so many fields, that you have doctors, engineers, accountants, like I'm an accountant, and there are so many on that Indo-Canada accountant WhatsApp group where you have males and females also at the same accountant level. Or even women are CEOs, or women have gone to space. Well, so it's definitely not talking about material intelligence also. So does it really matter to discuss this statement? Have I not nullified? And the second question, so first question for you is, have I not nullified the statement? And then I will ask the second question. Everybody, please answer.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Yes, I think you have nullified this statement that women are not generally not intelligent. But I had a question in that when you said, okay, I think I can ask my question after you say your second point maybe. But
Okay.
yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay, rest of you, have I not nullified the statement? Please speak quickly.
Yes, Prabhuji, you nullified the statement.
Okay.
Prabhuji, I want to understand what do you mean by nullify? Well, it's
Nullify
not...
means it's neither talking about spiritual intelligence, because all souls are female. So whether you call a soul in woman body as less intelligent, or you call soul as less intelligent in a male body, does it really make any difference? Because it's the body, it's the material body that is male or female. All souls are females, period. And same way with if you look at material intelligence level, well, we already know that in all fields of education, you have males, you have females. So it doesn't talk about material intelligence also. That's what I'm saying. You can either have spiritual intelligence or material intelligence, and it's referring to neither of them. Abhishek Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
So have I nullified the statement? I want to hear from everybody.
Yes, Prabhu.
Abhishek, Neha.
Yes,
I'm
Prabhuji.
like still not able to clarify this, that the way I see it, I understand that your material point logic is more like, rather than nullifying, I perceive it as the statement is incorrect, which I know cannot be true because Prabhupada is saying it. So it's just
Yeah.
something which doesn't click
Yeah.
there.
So your point, I'm saying nullify, I'm referring to the same point. What difference does it make? It's the same point I'm saying in a different set of words from what you're describing about material intelligence. Well, it doesn't matter whether you call somebody intelligent or not. It's incorrect that we know that women are also equally present at those high levels in all fields of education and all fields of work. Abhishek Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Neha?
So we take it as so like the statement, what you're saying from material point of view, that we know that women are present in all important fields also. We take it, the meaning we take it is that the statement is not talking about material things, rather than thinking that the statement is wrong. Like that's how we understand. Yes.
So that's my next question to you all. So if I have nullified the statement, the step 2 is, do you want me to explain what this actually means, or you are satisfied with the nullification? Hey, everybody?
I would like to understand, because it's people are going to ask me.
So
Very good.
yeah, so basically, like I agree with the statement nullifying, but like my question is how?
Yeah. Okay, very good. Rest of you, would you like to know what this actually means? And Abhishek Prabhu is correct. He is already a preacher. Would you like to know what this statement actually means?
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Okay. So let me explain what this actually means. So I already said that it's not referring to spiritual intelligence. It's not referring to material intelligence. What this statement is referring to is the interaction of the soul and body. We use intelligence as our capacity to manipulate and organize data or interpret data. Now, from Vedic culture's point of view, intelligence refers to the understanding the basic truths of life, that I am not this body, but I am a soul. In the female body, meaning the material body, in the female material body, the bodily identification is far greater than in the male material body. So women are generally more focused on how good I look, meaning the bodily identification in the material female body is much stronger than in the male material body. Plus, in the female body, the sentimentality is more than rationality. Now, counterbalance to sentimentality is rationality, means men are more rational. And rationality is foundational for philosophical inquiry. Philosophical inquiry is beginning with serious spiritual search. So to summarize, women in the material body have greater bodily misidentification. Plus, women have greater level of sentimentality than rationality. Therefore, the statement women are not intelligent refers to the use of intelligence for bodily misidentification. Of course, there will be exceptions to this statement. So the principles are eternal, and then you will have examples which are contextual to the circumstances. So when one becomes a devotee and starts chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the devotees, whether it's a male devotee or a female devotee, the devotee's intelligence expands. Intelligence expands does not mean that the physical size of the brain expands. Rather, the intelligence expand means the intelligence to know that I am a soul and I am not this body. So instead of wasting my time on decorating my body with lipstick and whatnot, let me focus on spiritual topics. So this point about women are not intelligent actually comes up in another verse in chapter 9 in 32 also, where Krishna says in 9.32 that bhakti elevates anyone and everyone, whether they are low born like Shudra or female. Again, it's saying females are low born. Krishna says directly in the verse. So how do you understand this? What this verse, we'll discuss this heavy verse in chapter 9, but I will briefly describe right now. And I will bring up some verses from Bhagavatam to support for this. What Krishna says about woman is that, say you are trying to run a 100-meter race and there is a starting line. So the male, those who are in male body, they are standing at the starting line to run the 100-meter race and to reach the finish line. Females, because of their less spiritual credits from previous life, because they are more sentimental, the females are standing little behind than the starting point. But Krishna goes on to say in 9.32 and in the verses around there, Krishna says this disadvantage that the female have, that they are standing little behind than the starting line in the race, it doesn't matter. Bhakti is so potent that the male standing at the starting line and running the 100-meter race to reach the destination of spiritual world, and females standing little behind because they have less spiritual credits, it doesn't matter. Females will also reach the spiritual world, meaning the destination, the same way the males reach. So the potency of bhakti elevates anyone and everyone, whether somebody has less spiritual credits or more spiritual credits. So the less spiritual credits mean why somebody gets a female body. There are many factors. We'll discuss in the 4.16, 17, 18 karma verse how we get our body. Just this one component I'm describing here, that if one has more spiritual credits, then he gets male body, just at this one criteria. There are many criteria. And if one has less spiritual credits, then the soul gets a female body. I will pause here. I still have a lot of talking to do. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I had a question about when you said, while nullifying the statement, you said that every soul is female.
Yeah.
But I mean, I might be wrong, but I just want to know that, isn't it soul does not have any form, right? Like it's soul can neither be created nor be destroyed. And
So soul has a form. Soul does has a form. but all souls are females. So soul is not some light or some energy. No, soul actually has a form. So when we purify ourselves and we leave this material body behind and go back to spiritual world, the soul actually has a form, like a person.
Okay.
It's just that the soul, all souls, whether the soul in the material world is in a male body or female body, or 100% of the souls except Krishna, all souls are females and only Krishna is the male. In entire existence, only Krishna is male, all other souls are females. Smith Prabhu?
Yeah. Thank you.
Rest of you on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Questions,
Actually,
comments?
I'll just like to like clarify my understanding. So
Yeah.
if I understand correctly, like suppose in any human body, someone gets a birth in a pious family. So we can say that they have some pious credits from the past, which has given them a favorable situation for practicing
Yeah.
bhakti. Someone may not get a very such kind of a family. Maybe they are in a bad, let's say, bad monetary condition. So even though it is not a disqualification for practicing bhakti, but from a general point of view, it seems that there is some sense of difficulty for them in practicing bhakti because they have to first look after their food.
Yeah, you are correct. So we'll have this discussion in 6.41 and 42, where Krishna says exactly this, Srimatam Grehe, that somebody is born in an aristocrat family or somebody is born in a devotee family. So somebody who's born in an aristocrat family, who's a devotee, so that refers to advanced devotee, he doesn't have to worry about day-to-day food. He can just focus on spirituality. Absolutely correct understanding.
So in the same sense, like a female body and male body can be understood that because of previous credits, there is some little more, let's say, easier or little more difficult, but if someone is practicing, the result is all the same, just like a pious family and less pious family.
Yeah, you are correct. And that's what Krishna will explain in chapter 9 for verse number 32 and plus minus those verses. That bhakti is potent, is so potent that bhakti will elevate anyone and everyone. So whether you are in a female body or whether you are in a male body, as far as bhakti is concerned, there is no difference. Rest of you, Abhishek Prabhu, does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Rest of you, that have I put to rest this seemingly controversial statement? I will of course discuss and will read more about women, that actually Krishna does favor women more than males, if you actually see those verses. Everybody, I want to hear from everybody.
Yes, Prabhu.
Ritu, Neha.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So is this really a controversial statement?
I think not anymore.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, Prabhuji, like if saying intelligence, intelligence is here more in the sense of fortunate rather than the way we understand intelligence.
No, intelligence here refers to how you are using intelligence. Everybody has the same intelligence. We'll discuss this in Srimad Bhagavatam, that intelligence is also material. It's made out of the same elements for everyone. It's not that you have a intelligence made out of something better and my intelligence is made out of something inferior. No, it's made out of the same elements. It's how you use your intelligence is important.
Okay. So the point is that because of some conditioning there's little more difficulty in using that intelligence.
Correct. Okay. So would you like to listen the same points from Chaitanya Chandas? I have essentially repeated what I have heard from Chaitanya Chandas. I do have his lecture. Would you like to listen it directly from Chaitanya Chandas? It will be identical to what I just said.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, let me play. I will again pause at intervals. Okay.
So to say that women are like Shudras and Vaishyas, it is so accusative and so discouraging. Well, I would explain this at 3 levels. First is it that Krishna is actually endorsing that, or is he simply stating that? Because the whole chapter is the chapter of Bhakti Yoga. And in that chapter of Bhakti Yoga, the verse, what is the thrust of the verse? Mami partha vyapashite yepisyu papayona striyo vaishya sadashudras tepi yanti paramgati. That even those who are Vaishyas, Shudras, women, the low-born, they can attain perfection. So the thrust of the verse is not how women are. The thrust of the verse is how potent bhakti is. That however you are, bhakti can elevate you and elevate you to supreme perfection. So first of all, that is the thrust of the verse. So we could say very well that women being equated with a particular social grouping, that is not a teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. That is just a statement where Krishna is echoing the current conception of people. So it was considered at that time. But even if somebody is considered low class, still they can be elevated by bhakti. The stress of the verse is the potency of bhakti. The stress of the verse is not that this is the case. And even Krishna also says over there that this is 9.33, 32. So earlier Krishna has said that Sakalene himhata yogo nashya parantava. Krishna is telling that by the power of time, that primeval knowledge which I had given is lost. Now that means the culture that Krishna appeared in is not the ideal culture. The culture that the Mahabharata describes is the deviated culture. And that's why Krishna has to come to correct the dharmasya glani. So therefore, the cultural conceptions that are present at that time, are they necessarily the right conceptions? We don't know which part was right, which part was not right. So one thing I would clearly say, that is not the teaching of the Gita. That is, today morning I gave a class, I talked about everything that is in scripture is not the teaching of scripture. Sometimes scripture may just be describing social cultural reality at that time.
Okay, what did he explain? Quickly, we have a lot to cover.
I think Prabhuji, he explained that in whichever form we are, in whatever gender we are, we can elevate through bhakti.
Very good. And he said one important point, that many actually read Mahabharata, and he says Mahabharata was actually deviated time. Why would anybody want to read Mahabharata? Actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam goes on to describe that Mahabharata is actually for less intelligent people. Okay, rest of you, quickly. I still have a lot to discuss and play a lot of lectures. Okay, let me continue playing, and I will again pause at intervals.
And that's one level. Second level would be that even if we consider over there what is going on, it is the whole Bhagavad Gita is talking about transcendence, about attaining spiritual reality. And for gaining spiritual knowledge, attaining spiritual reality, is in the broad human society, there are certain dispositions which are suitable, certain are not suitable. So Brahmanas are more analytical, intellectual, they are best suited for spiritual understanding. Kshatriyas, they also have some amount of sattva which regulates their rajas. They are suited. Vaishyas and Shudras, there are many people who are very, very money-minded. They are not necessarily sinfully materialistic. But for them to think about the other world is very difficult. And it was acknowledged that Vaishyas and Shudras may never be able to take sannyas. They may never be able to take even vanaprastha. Usually Brahmanas take sannyas, Kshatriyas take vanaprastha. So Shudras and Vaishyas don't. So just today in the purport only we read that for the Shudras the only reformatory ceremony is vivaha. They marry. So now, what does that mean? That means in the Vedic culture it is also acknowledged that some people may not be of that spiritual level where they can embrace renunciation or they can embrace the path of very great spiritual elevation. So that is simply a fact of life with respect to people's spiritual receptivity.
Okay, what did he explain? Quickly.
In Vedic culture, based on this system of Varnashram, it was acknowledged that some people are lower in the ladder of their ability to receive spiritual knowledge.
Yeah, if you tell a Shudra to take sannyas, he will go crazy. What? If you tell Shudra to live a regulated life like a Brahmana, he will actually fall down from his level. So the process one has to follow has to be according to his Varna, whether he's a Shudra or a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya. Okay, very good. I'll play this last part all together, about 4 minutes. And here is the crux of the woman that we discussed earlier. So here, and we'll again discuss.
So similarly, with respect to women, generally in the female body, one of the primary functions is to nurture and nourish. And for nourishing new life, the emotionality is very important. Children, when they cry, when they wake up, babies are especially not rational. So if mothers were rational, mothers would not be able to take care of the babies. So for mothers to have that emotional connect with their especially small children, they have to have emotional natures. That's not necessarily a disadvantage. For the purpose of nurturing, that is a need. It's a great strength also. So in general, women are not that philosophical. So if we consider, that means to go towards spiritual growth, one way is through philosophical analysis. We understand the futility of the material world, and then we look for something higher. That is through the philosophical analytical way. And there are certain kinds of people who are just not suitable for that. So some people just not be philosophical enough to understand this kind of thing at all. So, but Krishna is saying this kind of analytical, intellectual approach to spirituality, for that approach, certain varnas, certain categories of people are not qualified. But they are qualified for bhakti. So the thrust is again that bhakti is possible for everyone. And that's the second point. So it is describing a particular fact of life. Some people may be more money-minded, some categories of people may be more emotional, which is just what they need for their particular contribution to society. It's not a disadvantage, or it's not a bad thing. It's what is needed for their particular contribution to society. Now, Vaishyas have to be money-minded. Now, some people have to be good at analyzing money, investing, planning. Brahmanas can't do that. So that is their strength also. It can be a limitation, but so that psychophysical nature and its limitation is a limitation on the path of intellectual spirituality. But it is not a limitation on devotional spirituality. So in that sense, it's not at all a accusation or a condemnation. And the last point we will have to see is that the Bhagavad Gita begins by saying that we are not the body, we are the soul. So that means our bodily designation is just a temporary situation. And there is a dynamic, you could say tension or balance between how we act spiritually and how we act physically. So from the spiritual perspective, that is our defining identity, and everybody is meant to grow spiritually. So how different people grow spiritually, that will vary. Now, there are exceptions also in the broad Vedic fold. there are examples of great sages who were females. And in the, I think, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is Gargi. She is we know Gargarushi, but Gargi is a great female sage. And there's a debate that happens in Mithila, and actually she defeats everyone over there. So there are examples of learned sages also, and who are females. There may not be many, but there are there. So no social categorization is watertight. The Bhagavatam also says that ultimately Lakshana Prokta. It is by characteristics that we are to be known. So if there are some women who may be very philosophical, there may be some women who may be very analytical. So then if they are there, then this is not meant to deprive them. So I would say if we broadly understand the context, then those statements will not be seen as so jarring. It is only when we see the statement in isolation from the overall purpose of what is being spoken, then it becomes very jarring.
All right. What did he explain?
I think Prabhuji, what he explained was everyone has their own roles and they are suitable for that. And philosophy might not be possible for everyone, but bhakti is possible, and bhakti is the path to reach Krishna is for everyone, no matter what you are, Shudra or Kshatriya or whoever you are.
Yeah, very good. Like if you tell Brahmana to manage money, he's not going to manage. He will go crazy.
Yeah.
And similarly, if you ask Shudra to follow a regulated life like Brahmana, wake up 3 a.m. every day, attend Mangalarti every day, that Shudra is going to go crazy. So we have to follow bhakti according to our varna. And bhakti is possible for everyone. So Shudra may not be able to follow like the Brahmana lifestyle, but he can still practice bhakti, and Shudra will get elevated by the practice of bhakti. And the last statement that Chitrachandra has made is very important as well. That if you try to understand the statement according to the context, then the statement will not seem very jarring. Otherwise, in isolation, it will seem like a very jarring statement, just as what we are discussing, that if you only look at women are not intelligent, just as what my colleague did, I dropped reading Bhagavad Gita. It was very jarring for him that he was not even ready to listen to anything that I was trying to say. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Good, thank you, very good. So I want to explain that yes, we put to rest this seemingly controversial statement and understand what is going on in ISKCON. In ISKCON, women have equal rights to men. Women are also pujaris. If you go to temple when Aarti is happening, so the female pujaris and male pujaris have their own schedules. They come according to what works best for them. But they are pujaris, both men and women. And the most recent development in ISKCON, it's developed about, I think, less than 6 months or so, that up to now, before 6 months, it was only male spiritual masters. But in the last 6 months, the development is that now ISKCON also has female spiritual masters, meaning initiating spiritual masters. So up till now, it was only male spiritual masters who used to give initiation, diksha, to disciples. But now there are female initiating spiritual masters also in ISKCON. So in ISKCON, there is no discrimination. There is no difference between male and female. Although neither is Krishna saying anything about discrimination. What Krishna is saying is that you are female in a female body in the material world means your spiritual credits are less, means in a 100-meter race, the males are standing at the starting point and females are standing behind. But it doesn't matter. Bhakti is so potent that even if females are standing behind at the starting point, it doesn't matter. Bhakti will elevate anyone and everyone. That's the potency of bhakti. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations?
Yes, Prabhuji, that helps us understand. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the devotee had said, how do I understand this statement in current times? Abhishek Prabhu, will you be able to speak to anybody who asks you when you go out on preaching?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Ritu, Neha, are you comfortable?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, very good. So I will now bring up on screen Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse number 20. So this is Kunti Maharani speaking. Obviously, Kunti Maharani is female. And Kunti Maharani goes on to say that, oh, how can I understand? I am just a female. And in the purport, Krishna answers that actually female are more inclined for spirituality. So Bhaumik Prabhu, can you please read from the screen? So this is 1:8:20 purport. Please faster pace from the screen.
Yes, Prabhu. Even the greatest philosophical spectaculars cannot have access to the region of the Lord. It is said in the Upanishads that the supreme truth, the absolute personality of Godhead, is beyond the range of thinking power of the greatest philosopher. He is unknowable by great learning or by the greatest brain. He is knowable only by one who has his mercy. Others may go on thinking about him for years together, yet he is unknowable. This very fact is corroborated by the queen, who is playing the part of an innocent woman. Women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in superiority and almightiness of the Lord, and thus they offer obeisance without reservation. The Lord is so kind that he does not show special favor only to one who is a great philosopher. He knows the sincerity of purpose. For this reason only, women generally assemble in great number in any sort of religious function. In every country and in every section of religion, it appears that women are more interested than men. This simplicity of the acceptance of Lord authorities is more effective than showy insincere religious favor.
So Lord actually favors women because they accept the Lord superiority right away. Therefore, you have more women in religious function than men. So this is Krishna himself speaking. So just further, I'm trying to give evidence that women are less intelligent is irrelevant point. Actually, Krishna is favoring women if you actually see from this statement. Actually, Krishna is saying there's no discrimination at all, whether you are male or female. As long as you are doing bhakti, you will get elevated. Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. So the other point that I want to discuss right now is about discipline. So what we have discussed from day one, that discipline is step number one to progress on the path of spirituality. So we heard from Chaitanya Chandas how to respect Krishna is to respect the time you have carved out for Krishna. So I've requested everyone that every class you please join about 8 minutes before start time. I request all of you to put an alarm for yourself. Put an alarm 10 minutes before start time to join the class before so that you can prepare your consciousness. So I asked this question at the first class. Everybody said, yeah, I respect Krishna. And when we heard from Chaitanya Chandas that short lecture, then many of you devotees populated on the Google form that my respect of Krishna was only verbal. Actually, I don't think I respect Krishna because I am doing other things. I'm watching, browsing internet, looking at my phone, my WhatsApp, messaging WhatsApp. So all this is disrespecting Krishna. So we have to discipline ourselves, and I'll bring up a verse on screen for this. So Narad Muni explains, so this is from Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse number 24, which the title of the verse is Discipline. So Narad Muni explains by his personal example how Narad Muni became Narad Muni. So Narad Muni describes his previous life, that in his previous life, Narad Muni was an ordinary 5-year-old Shudra boy, and he describes the whole process of how this ordinary 5-year-old boy goes on to become a pure devotee that we know as Srila Narad Muni. And Narad Muni describes the real first step was discipline. So we will read very soon from the screen that discipline is step number 1. If you are not disciplined, if you don't follow the instructions, like many devotees, they don't complete the spiritual endeavor. And I will come to the spiritual endeavor shortly. But let's first focus on the discipline part. So I will bring up on screen. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.24. Neha, can you please read the last few lines without being self-controlled from screen?
Yes, Prabhu. Without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instruction of the spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead.
So discipline is very important. So I request all of you to give this 2 hours to Krishna once a week. So if you look on the WhatsApp group for this batch number 6, there are more than 60-70 devotees signed up. On the first class, roughly 60 devotees either attended the class or listened to the recording. But then they lose interest because they don't follow the instructions. I will tell you from the previous 5 batches, practical live example. All those devotees who do not endeavor on the spiritual endeavors that I give, they very soon end up leaving the Bhagavad Gita discussion because material world is right there and they are not developing spiritual endeavor. Therefore, they leave. And this is not just in one batch. All previous 5 batches, they start exactly like this, like 60, 70, 80 devotees sign up. And all those who don't do spiritual endeavor, they leave within the first few classes because they are not interested in spirituality at all. So on the very first day of our scriptural study of Bhagavad Gita, the very first verse we read was 18.70. So we will read right now, and I will teach you all how to look up a verse in Bhagavad Gita. So I want all of you to grab Bhagavad Gita. And we will look up 18.70. So on the top of Bhagavad Gita page, you have a sequential page number. And then the other numbers on one corner, there are numbers with a dot in between. So that the numbers on the left side of the dot is the chapter number, and the number on the right side of the dot is the verse number for that particular chapter. So right now we will try to find 18.70 with this reference. So instead of saying, tell me the page number, because page number will be different for different print versions of Bhagavad Gita, the chapter and the verse number is the proper way to look up Bhagavad Gita. So everybody, can you please look up 18.70 and tell me if you found it the way I described?
Yes, Prabhuji, found it.
Rest of you?
Yes, Prabhuji found it.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anybody did not find? Vamik Prabhu, you found?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So Smith Prabhu, you will read 18.70 translation, which we already read on at the first class, that when we are studying Bhagavad Gita, we are actually doing worship. So same way as you go to the temple, you wait outside the Gopinath doors to open and to take darshan. So same way, to join the class 8 minutes before, prepare your consciousness to be able to receive Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Bhagavad Gita knowledge is not some academic study. Smith Prabhu, 18.70 translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. Am I declared that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence?
Right? So turn off all your phones for this 2 hours. Turn off your internet. Give complete attention to Krishna through the Bhagavad Gita verse. And don't join the Zoom, then attend some phone calls, then join again. No, you are disrespecting Krishna. Because you are saying my phone call is more important than Krishna. So Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything else has to wait. Krishna is giving you darshan. So again, don't think that I'm chastising any one of you. This is very common because we don't have spiritual taste and simultaneously we have a lot of material taste. Therefore, we tend to incline toward material things, thinking material is important. But materiality is not important at all. It's only important as long as we keep the body and soul together. And then spirituality, getting the association, getting liberated, getting the association of the Lord, being able to do devotional service. This is the real purpose of life. So about spiritual endeavors. If you don't do spiritual endeavors, and those who listen to recording, if you don't do spiritual endeavors by the end of day Wednesday deadline, I mean, you may have exceptions. Sometimes you have something busy. I'm not standing here with a stick. It's just a recommendation so that I can assemble the information on the slides. So last class, I gave a few homework questions, and so far we have only discussed one. And the rest of the questions we will discuss in our following class. So those of you who have not submitted answers to rest of the questions, I request you to please submit your answers. And those of you who want to revise your answers, you are welcome to revise. Right now, I will show you again how to use Bhagavad Gita index. We'll do a practical example. So let's first go to the question. So I gave 5 questions last time. We discussed the seemingly controversial statement. So question number 2, 3, 4, 5, I will show sample. You can try to answer, or if you have already answered, you can try to revise if you really think you want to revise. So question number 2 was, when did Arjuna surrender to Krishna? Why? And plus the source. And then the question number 3 was, what does intelligence mean? Plus I want the source. So of course we now have established that We will not go to Google Guru and all these other, even bona fide spiritual masters. I want all of you to drop everything. Focus on what I am giving you. All the spiritual masters, so many of you quoted that they got the answers from a bona fide spiritual master. Okay, correct answer that you went to the bona fide source, but I'm requesting you to drop, even if it is bona fide, I request you to drop, because those bona fide spiritual masters are at a very high level. What you use to get your answers, I don't understand their lectures. Our classes are at grade 1 level. First, understand basic ABCD, Bhagavad Gita. Then go to listening to spiritual masters. I will give you everything that you need to know, all the lectures, relevant lectures, not random. I will give you relevant lectures. So let's go to Bhagavad Gita. I want everyone to grab your Bhagavad Gita. And there are 2 indexes at the back of your Bhagavad Gita. I want everyone to go to General Index. And the previous class, you had the homework for fearless. So I want you to find fearless in your index. Now everybody's index will be slightly different. So find fearless in the general index. So the second index that we have, general index, which is English, which is similar to any index that you get in a material world book. Did you find fearless? Somebody? Everybody? What did you find? Everybody? Unmute and ask questions if you didn't
Yes,
find.
Prabhuji, I find.
What did you find? Bhavik Prabhu?
So, or like it says fearless as 6.13 to 6.14.
Yeah, so there are many verses. It's not just one. Okay, very good. Rest of you, very good. Very good endeavor. Ritu?
Prabhuji, is fear same?
Yeah, so very good. You have the soft bound I gave you. So in the
Yeah.
soft bound, I said the index will be slightly different. So you have to get used to the book that you have. In the soft bound, it doesn't say fearless. Actually, in the soft bound, it says fear, and then next line says freedom from.
Freedom from
Which essentially,
2.40.
which essentially means fearless. Ritu?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so you have series of verses which talk about fearless, right?
Okay. So it is 2.40, comma
Yeah,
2.56.
Yeah, there are many. There are many.
There are many.
Yeah. First, go step by step. First, try to take the first step that you found fear. Okay, rest of you, Smith Prabhu was trying to say something.
Prabhuji, I'm not able to find in general index fearless.
Do you have hardbound or softbound?
Yes, hardbound. Yeah.
Okay, let me pick up hardbound and let's see what's there in hardbound.
So it's in alphabetical order, right?
Yeah, it's alphabetical. So
page 777, like if it's in the hard book.
yeah, so again, the hard book is different that what Bhaumik has. So what I have is on page 784. At the bottom, it says fearless. Fear is also there and fearlessness is also there.
Sorry, Prabhuji, what's the page number in your hard book?
784, or Bhaumik Prabhu had a different page reference. So it depends on which print version do you have. So first take 784, Smith Prabhu.
Yeah.
At the bottom, does it say fear and fearlessness?
No, Prabhuji. The 784 page number, it says it's the index of verses quoted, right?
Okay, so you have a different,
yeah.
So you have a different Bhagavad Gita. So if you go to the screen, so there is some Bhagavad Gita have a third index. which says index of verses quoted. So this index of verses quoted are the verses which are there in the purport of Bhagavad Gita. So the first on the left side, what you have on screen, index of Sanskrit verses, these are Bhagavad Gita verses. And the rightmost screenshot that you have says index of verses quoted. These verses are from other scriptures, but are referenced in Bhagavad Gita. So Smith Prabhu, I want you to find from your book, you have a different book. I want you to find general index.
Yes, Prabhuji, I am in general index. Yes.
Now go to F and find fear or fearless.
That's the thing, Prabhuji. For me, when I go to F index over there, I don't see fearless. I see feeding stomach and devotional service, like FE, Ferris wheel ride and transmigration, fire and living entity.
Okay.
But yeah, for some reason there is from FE, there's just two.
Yeah, and I did say that even the hardbound and softbound, we just compared that the index are slightly different. I never understood why this is there. Both these indexes are different, and probably what Smith Prabhu has is also on a third version of index. At some point, I'm hoping that Bhaktivedanta Book Trust combines all these indexes and makes it one. But right now, the fact is that indexes are slightly different, and we'll have to live with the index that we have in the book that we have. So at least almost all of you did find fear except for Smith Prabhu. Let's take another example. So you have this homework example for surrender. So right now we are only taking the step 1 to find. We are not going to verses. I will come to the verses for the second point. So now go to your general index and find surrender. We'll use the second example.
Found it, Prabhu.
Okay, very good. Rest of you, did you find surrender?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, very good. Rest of you, anybody did not find? Smith Prabhu?
Prabhuji, I'm still finding.
Okay. Should be the real last block under S.
Prabhuji, I don't think it's there in the soft bound curve.
Yeah. So go to 712 softbound.
I'm on
Page,
711.
yeah, page 712. On the
surrender to Krishna.
Right, very good. Smith Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm in the S of the alphabetical order. And
yeah, it should be at the very last block of S, just before where T starts.
Yeah, surrender to Lord.
Yeah. Okay. So now, so this way, and similarly, you have the next question about intelligence. So you can look up intelligence also. Now, what will happen is, I already told all of you at the last class that even if you start using index, you are going to stumble upon, because this is not an ordinary book. Right now, I am only trying to get your hands wet so that as we progress and understand Bhagavad Gita more and more, you will be able to use index on a day-to-day basis as a manual for how to live life according to scriptures. Now, everybody on the same page before I take the next step?
Just one question, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So in the index, we find that surrender is on like 77 and the 784, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm coming. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I'm coming. So what will happen is, when you find surrender, there's actually some 10, 12 verses. So how do you narrow down this? So you can either read. I mean, sometimes the verses is like a whole page. So you will need some help. You will need some guidance. Surrender is not a lot. It's only about, say, 10 verses or so. So you can read these verses and you will realize what is going on. But as we progress, it will become second nature for you to recognize that the chapter 7 verses about surrender are talking about a particular point. Then chapter 15 about surrender are talking about a particular point. Chapter 18 surrender verses are talking about a particular point. So you first narrow down. So we discussed in chapter 1 that my intelligence is contaminated. I have to rely on Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So start with Shastra. You found, oh, I found so many verses. Now you need help. So you connect with Sadhu. Sadhu means devotee. So I have given you so many options of who is a Sadhu. You can connect with Vaishnav, you can connect with Shalini Gopal Krishna, or Vaishnav can connect with Gopal Krishna, or all of you can connect with me at any time. I'm available to answer any and all questions, and Ritu can validate that from the last conversation. So you read, I'm not saying go to Sadhu right away. You read these verses and you will get your answer if they are only few. If there are a lot of verses, obviously you will need to first understand Bhagavad Gita a little, or initially you can get help from a devotee. Bhaumik Prabhu, does that help you and rest of you?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I request all of you to please complete your endeavor. Ritu has to say something.
Yeah, we should discuss Rajesh Prabhuji regarding our this endeavor. It was very helpful.
All right. All glories are always for Guru Maharaj. All glories are always for Srila Prabhupada. Neha?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Prabhu, the last index is also in our Bhagavad Gita, the index of...
Index of verses quoted is
Yes.
not in all Bhagavad Gita. Only some copies have that that index. So like how the print copy that Smith has it, but the soft bound that I have and the one that I gave to Ritu, that does not have the index of verses quoted, and the hard bound that I have, it has the index of verses quoted. So depends on which print version you have, and the index is slightly different, as well as even though you have the same general index, the way the index are designed are also slightly different, and I never understood how. Yeah.
Okay. So Prabhu, which edition do they added? Like I have
I
second
don't know.
edition. So
No,
I'm
no,
not
it's not a question of second edition. It's certain print versions.
into versions.
So edition may still be same, but they went on to add like just the if you look at the outer cover of the print version would be different, and they just created that particular version. You just have to go with trial and error. Doesn't matter. You will anyway end up remembering all the verses. So index would be second nature.
Thank
So
you.
come to the point of just knowing the whole Bhagavad Gita, and you'll be good to go.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? So I will repeat the homework question, the leftover. You can use the same link from last class that I posted in the WhatsApp group. So mandatory question number 2 is, when did Arjuna surrender to Krishna? Why? And I need the source of your answer. Question number 3 is, what does intelligence mean? And the source of your answer. So these 2 questions about surrender and intelligence, these you can look up in Bhagavad Gita to get your answers. The next 2 questions, they don't come from Bhagavad Gita. So is question important? Is answer important? You try to answer by yourself. Although it comes from Bhagavad Gita, in our next class we will discuss from Bhagavad Gita. But right now it is next to impossible for many of you to be able to use the index to get to this question. So answer this question number 4. Is question important? Is answer important? In your general sense, what seems right to you? And question number 5 also, what is freely available? Of course, it will come from Bhagavad Gita, but again will be little difficult for you to narrow down that answer. So try to answer in a general way as to what is freely available. And please try to submit answers by end of day Wednesday to the question number 2, 3, 4, 5, which are the leftover questions. Plus, I will send Srila Prabhupada lecture to listen to. Please listen. So if you have not already read all the purports up to end of chapter 1, then please read chapter 1, all purports. Somebody wants to repeat all the homework questions? I still have few little talk to do. Somebody quickly. Somebody quickly. Abhishek Prabhu, Smith Prabhu, somebody.
May I,
Bhavik
Prabhu?
Prabhu. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bhavik Prabhu, go ahead.
So, first question: when did Arjuna surrender to Krishna?
Yeah, so this is
Why?
question number 2 in the continuation from last class.
Yeah.
So on the form, the Google form from last class is question number 2. Continue.
And provide the source, like how did you arrive when did Arjuna surrender to Krishna?
Okay, very good.
And the next question would be like what does the intelligence mean, and provide the source for that, like how it comes like intelligence mean.
Okay, very good.
And
So these two come from Bhagavad Gita. Okay, very good.
yeah, and is question important? Is question important? Is answer important?
Yeah. So that's a generic question. You don't go to Bhagavad Gita. Try to answer by yourself. Okay, very good.
And the last would be what is freely available?
Yeah, very good. And that is also general. Okay, and 2 other points also. Pamit Prabhu, two other points on the homework.
So any, I think, like the inquiry from the previous class, right?
Yeah, you can always submit striking points and inquiries. Plus, listen to Prabhupada lecture and read all the purports.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I have everybody on the same page. I have a favor to ask all of you.
Yes, Ravi.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes, Prabhuji.
thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
So, you are all already very dear to Krishna. That's why you are studying Bhagavad Gita. Would you like to become even more dear to Krishna?
Yes, Ravi.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very good. So if you read 18.68 and 69, Abhishek Prabhu, 18.68, 69 translations.
Yes, please. Yes. 18.68. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me.
69.
69. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear.
Right. So if you preach Bhagavad Gita to anyone and everyone, then you become dear to Krishna. So here's a preaching opportunity for all of you. So there are so many devotees signed up in the WhatsApp group who are not coming to our classes. They get messages. They read all the messages every time I send messages. So my first question, before I ask the favor, my first question to all of you, I want all of you to please answer. Is our Bhagavad Gita study helpful to you all?
Yes, Ravi.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Rest of you?
Yes, Swami.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
All the time. I
Okay.
think just let me finish the work and I have to complete the endeavor form.
Yeah, very good.
So I
So
just
I will, on the WhatsApp group that we have for batch 6, I will open up the WhatsApp group. Right now it's restricted that only admins can send. I will open up that everybody can send messages. You all can explain that this class is beneficial or not, and explain something. Now, I'm not trying to market myself. I'm not here to make money at all. This is a free course. I want everybody to get advantage of this. Plus, there are many devotees, including Bhaumik Prabhu, and there are many who listen to the recording, who are from this Indo-Canada accountants WhatsApp group, where we have also created this spirituality WhatsApp group. If you can post this message there also, that everybody take advantage of Rajesh, of Ram Vilas, is giving free him knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, it will inspire others to come to the class regularly and diligently. Is it doable for all of you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So I will open up our batch 6 WhatsApp group as soon as our class finishes. And you can please inspire some way or the other. Or it's not just restricted to these. Just try to spread the word around. The sooner they join the Bhagavad Gita class, it's easier for them to catch up. Beyond a certain point, it will become very late for them to catch up, and then they have to wait for the next batch because they'll always feel lost. So please, after our class ends, I will open up the WhatsApp group for everybody to send messages. And also Bhaumik Prabhu and those who listen who are from the Indo-Canada Accountants WhatsApp group, please post a message there also. And there are already some 30 devotees from the Indo-Canada Accountant WhatsApp group signed up, but they haven't come. Not all have come. Some have come, but not all have come to classes. So I'm also an accountant, therefore I'm there. So I want to just help everybody. All right. Thank you everybody for accepting my request. And when you do post these messages of bring souls closer to Krishna, then you become dear to Krishna, exactly what we read in 18.68 and 69. So we are bang at 4 p.m. on Toronto time. Are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
So we
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.